Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Storyist. Sometimes we don't realize in life that every single act of kindness comes back to us eventually, in whatever form we don't expect. This is what the man in today's story has learned as he rescued a drowning bear cub from the river. He could not imagine how the bear would thank him for what he had done. Stay until the end of the video to hear the whole story and to find out what happened. Leopold is a wise man living at the foot of a mountain. He belongs to no community or neighborhood. It is not the pre-civilization era. It is the modern day, and everything is dependent on technology. People spend most of their time in the day using computers or their mobile phones. Everything is modern, but this does not mean that Leopold is a modern man too. Still, he lives inside a makeshift hut made out of wood. His job is hunting, and he is very good at it. Since Leopold was a little boy, his father would bring him to the woods and make him watch him hunt deers. When he got a little older, his father gave him a bow and arrow as a birthday gift, and he taught him how to hunt smaller animals at first, like squirrels, birds, and fish in the flowing river. Leopold was quick to learn his father's skills and even his tricks, and it led him to eventually be a really good hunter just like his father. Then later on, as he grew even older, his skills in hunting also improved, and his father started teaching him how to hunt bigger animals, such as deer, wild boars, antelopes, and sometimes foxes. But there was one thing his father never got to teach him: how to hunt the bears. And Leopold grew a deep anger towards bears because of what was to happen next. Leopold spent all his life by the foot of the mountain. His family moved there since his father was falsely accused of being part of a huge company arson, when in reality, he really had nothing to do with it. Being framed by high-pitched profile people, Leopold's father thought there was nothing else he could do. It was either he would escape with his family or surrender and never see his family ever again. So he did what any father would have done. He left his beloved hometown in the city and went into hiding with his wife and their 10-month-old son, Leopold. They were hiding for several months, hopping from one town to another, never really settling in because of their fear of the police. Until one day, their family stumbled upon a peaceful place by the foot of the mountain. It was rich with vegetation, and everything just seemed untouched. They felt it was the perfect place for them to build their new home. So they did. They created a hut made of wood that would be their shelter for years to come. But what Leopold's parents didn't know was that the area was rarely visited by people because wild animals lurked by the place. At night, silence would constantly be broken by wolves howling, and when his family learned how to hunt and defend themselves, it was their only means of survival. But these rabid animals would also be the reason for Leopold's father's demise. One fine day, while Leopold and his father were hunting salmon by the river, a huge bear suddenly came. That time, his father's guard was down. He was taken by surprise. Because of this, his father fell out of balance, and he submerged into the river. The thirsty bear dived into the water, and his father never surfaced back. Soon after, his father emerged from the water, telling him to run. He did what his father ordered while he heard his father's loud cries as the bear mauled his body. Leopold was crying while he was running. His teary eyes blurred his vision, and he was running out of breath. But his father sacrificed himself so the bear wouldn't run after his child. Leopold was very heartbroken back then, and he promised his mother he wouldn't come near the river again unless it was to kill bears. All Leopold could think of back then was revenge for his father. Some time passed, and now Leopold is a grown man. He has developed muscles over the years that are pretty strong enough to let him fight animals. He is still living with his mother, who is old now, and his life has not changed a bit. Every day, Leopold follows a routine. He will climb the mountain in the morning, gather some vegetables and fruits while hunting rabbits or squirrels for dinner. Then, whatever he hunts, he will keep in their makeshift freezer and will consume until the supplies last. What Leopold doesn't know at this moment is that his ordinary routinary life is about to change. One morning, Leopold is at the top of the mountain, carrying his bow and arrow and a basket of fruits. Then he hears rustling from his left side. Quickly and smoothly, Leopold positions himself to shoot the target. It is a deer. Target acquired. After some time, the deer comes out of hiding and Leopold, just like a real professional, releases his arrow and directly shoots the deer, and just as quickly the deer falls down. While the deer's body is strapped on his back, he is picking some berries before going down his track when he hears the wailing of a little bear. The voice is tiny, and it's apparent that the bear is just a month old. He readies his arrow and walks silently to the river. As he spots the bear cub's direction, he aims at him, ready to shoot. But then he sees the cub is struggling for air. He is drowning in the same river Leopold's father had drowned. He must have been catching salmon and slipped, Leopold thinks to himself. He aims at the cub once again, but something inside him tells him not to. The cub is helpless, and he is dying in a raging current. All of a sudden, Leopold finds himself swimming in the river, trying to catch the bear cub. With every hit of the current, he remembers how his father drowned helplessly. Despite these memories, he keeps his goal to get the bear cub, and he successfully does. He immediately brings the bear cub to the dry land, and in his surprise, the bear cub clings on to him, like it is thanking him for saving his life. For an unknown reason, Leopold's deep hatred for bears subsides, and he holds the bear in his arms. When the bear is finally warmed up again, he releases it back to the woods. He never hears another rattle in the bushes after that, so he goes back home safely. The following day, Leopold wakes up hearing some clawing in his wooden room's wall. The scratching is coming from outside, and when he takes a look, he sees the tiny little bear cub he saved the other day. The bear cub has a salmon fish in his mouth, but he is not eating it. Leopold tries to reach out for the salmon, and the cub gladly gives it. The bear is giving him salmon. Leopold thanks the bear for this, and the cub runs away. Leopold thinks of this as the bear cub's gift of gratitude for him. He is moved, and he shows it to his mother. They both feast on the salmon fish, and he does not go out to hunt that day. "I'll be hunting for food tomorrow then," says Leopold. But what he doesn't know is that he will never have to hunt again. The next morning, Leopold hears loud scratching again at his door. He opens it and sees the bear cub with a squirrel stuffed in his mouth. Leopold is surprised, but he accepts the little gift again. And once he does, the bear cub is gone. This goes on for the next following days and weeks and months. The bear cub that Leopold once saved from the raging waters of the river is now his friend and his own hunter. Leopold doesn't have to hunt anymore, as the bear does that for him every single day. Now all he does is pick fruit from the nearby trees. Later on, the bear cub grows bigger and bigger, but the connection between Leopold and the bear also becomes stronger as each day passes. Eventually, the bear became his friend and companion. They go on trips around the forest together, and he watches him catch fish. He is never afraid to swim by the rivers anymore, because he knows there will always be his bear friend to defend him. The bear grew up to love him as his best friend, and he did treat him the same way. Since then, Leopold's hatred for bears was washed away in that same river where his father was consumed by a bear. All because of this sweet, innocent little bear cub that felt indebted to him for saving his life. That's all for today. We hope you enjoyed that video, and we'll see you in the next. Stay tuned.